Hey, all my Taurus friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And I'm here today with your February 2023 monthly horoscopes. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So I'm talking about Taurus rising. If you don't know your rising sign, you can go to any one of the free birth calculators. You'll just need your exact time of birth and your location in order to determine what that is. So when we get to February, we are starting to see an accelerated energy. All the planets are moving forward. The beginning of January, we had both Mercury and Mars retrograde, which felt very stuttered, very stagnant on some level. And now we're starting to feel a little bit of traction as we move forward. On the 4th of February, the moon will make an exact trine to Jupiter at 6 degrees. The moon will be in Leo, which is your 4th house, and Jupiter is in your 12th house of Aries. This energy feels like it's very much re-examining my beliefs, my faith, my perception of myself in regards to the influences of my family and my ancestors. The 4th house represents home. It represents the mother energy. It represents patriotism to my country. It represents self-nurturing and self-care. And naturally, the 4th house is a very intuitive house. But sometimes that house can get, your intuition can feel washed away by the focus on other people and the nurturing of other people. So here, I think, Taurus, this is really giving you an opportunity with Jupiter in your 12th house to have a bit of understanding that as you take care of yourself, Aries being the lone soldier, Aries being about the self, and how you're taking care of yourself actually benefits those around you. I also think it's an opportunity to look at how the ancestral pattern of your family dynamic, rather than affected you in a negative way, how it might have affected you in a positive way. As I have aged on the planet, I've started to refer to challenges in my life as divine disruption. And how oftentimes when I review that divine disruption, I actually see how it launched me into a path that serves me in a way that I could not have seen when I initially experienced that disruption. The 12th house is a place where we sleep. It's the bedroom where we sleep, where we literally dream. It's also a house where there's a lot of imagination and creativity. It represents dancing and poetry and photography and filmography and this kind of dreamy. I think in some ways this is even where, if you were to look at spiritual tools, this is where you would create a vision board. So this is a day where I think you'll really start to reflect on how you have been imprinted and how you can take the benefits of that and then incorporate that into your life rather than focusing on what might have felt distasteful, because the trine is a very favorable aspect. Now we see Venus at 10 degrees Pisces in your 11th house, squaring Mars in Gemini in your 2nd house. I think this is an opportunity to really, Pisces, again, we were just talking about the 12th house. Pisces naturally rules the 12th house. So we are seeing the themes of the Piscean energy, my compassion, my empathy, my creativity, my imagination. And Venus is about my self-worth and my skills. And this 10th degree in the 11th house is really resonating these ones. What am I thinking? Are my thoughts aligned to what I want to experience? And am I willing to be brave enough to allow myself the privilege of thinking that my imaginations and my creativity and my self-expression are valuable and palatable out in the world? Because here we are in the 11th house, the World Wide Web, our networks, our our large social platforms. And with the square to Mars in Gemini, and Gemini being your second house, the second house is naturally ruled by Taurus, and it's naturally ruled by Venus. Again, here we're seeing a theme of your skills coming into the world, and Mars in Gemini may make you very on some level reflective about how you land, the viability of you making money. Gemini naturally rules our thoughts. It rules our speech. It rules our monkey mind. And here, making a square, I feel as if, meaning Mars squaring Venus is really, in some ways, tasking me to be braver in my communities, Gemini, in my network, in how Gemini is also a very social house. So here it's about being brave and willing to put my skills out. And rather than focusing in on, will they be palatable to others? Will people like me? I think this is an opportunity for Taurus to say, hey, you know what? I like what I'm producing. And if I like it, then it will naturally find those that will resonate with it. Because at the same time, we have Uranus that's been transiting your first house of self for years now. Moving forward, it's at the 15th degree, making an exact square to the sun in Aquarius, and that is your 10th house. The 15th degree is the Gemini degree. So I feel like this is an opportunity for you to, squares for me are interesting. They're tense aspects, but as I perceive them as an intuitive astrologer, they are tense because there's a version of myself that I'm used to defaulting to. And then there's an evolved version of myself that I'm stretching to root into the physical world. Now, this is where this square in the square here with Uranus being the natural ruler of Aquarius is asking me as a Taurus to allow myself to let go of some of the fixed energy that is holding me in my pattern and to revolutionize myself a bit. And this is being supported by the moon trining Jupiter. So this day feels like it's a day that really is more about self-awareness, epiphanies, revelations, kind of noticing how my patterned thoughts don't necessarily always support what I want or what I want to experience, and then giving yourself an opportunity to push past that energy so that you can create an experience that then anchors you more succinctly or more deeply into what you want to create. We are going to have the next day on the 5th of February, we'll have a full moon in Leo. I'll be doing a separate video on that, as there is a series of full moons at the 16th degree that is indicating a pattern, and a pattern of implementing our intuitions and really paying attention to our self-care and the value of self-care and how that actually gives us more fuel and fire to care for others. On the 9th, we see Mercury at 28 degrees, making an exact conjunction to Pluto. Here again, we're starting to see my mind being rebirthed in ways that I had never before given myself the privilege of endeavoring or contemplating or musing upon. The 28th degree is the Cancerian degree. It's also number 28 reduces down to a 1. The ones to me are so powerful because our thoughts are things, and those thoughts actually kick in the laws of attraction. So the law of attraction does not have an emotional body that determines whether your thoughts are serving you or not. It just acts like a computer. Whatever you type in is what's going to come onto your screen. So here you have an opportunity to really liberate and rebirth the structure of your thoughts. And it's not about trying to let go of thoughts that don't serve you. It's about realizing and having an awareness of a thought, and then the awareness that that thought could be the platform for how you speak to others. So when you are talking about a challenge and talking about it in a way that is starting to fuel your emotional body into a place of feeling disempowered, you are starting to kick in the law of attraction. So now you have an opportunity to say, that was then and this is now. And when Pluto is involved, Pluto is going to dig down to a deep psychological level of an imprint that others have inadvertently stamped you with. I feel like it's like when you have a herd of cows and you brand them with the ranch logo. And this is sort of what happens to the human. We get branded with the family logo. And now this is a real opportunity for you to have an awareness about it. I don't believe that humans can truly release something. I think some of us are more predisposed to not focus on it. But when it comes to Taurus is a fixed sign, and it's a very emotional sign. I don't know if everybody would think that because it's an earth sign, but I think because it's so attached to its family history, it can have a tendency to plug into a dynamic that is no longer serving it. And this is an opportunity to liberate yourself from that. And the liberation doesn't come from ignoring it or pretending it didn't happen or releasing it, but rather an integration. And that integration looks like, okay, here I go again. I'm saying I'm not lucky, or I'm saying love doesn't work for me, or I'm saying I don't have any money. That's an old story. If I keep chiming into that story, aren't I contributing to it? So now I'm going to say money comes to me easily. There are plenty of resources to support my personal endeavors. That's what Pluto offers you when it's conjunct Mercury here, to rewrite the structure, Capricorn, and build anew. So I'm excited about that dynamic. On the 11th of February, Mercury will move into Aquarius. That will be your 10th house. So we'll see an acceleration of your career, what you're endeavoring within your career. And when I say an acceleration, I feel like communications will be very quick. People will be responding, and you may find yourself very kind of like almost, I want to say, pinging on all these new ideas that are coming up. Do your best to try not to act on all those ideas right away. You might want to put them in a little tickler file and allow them to percolate, to marinate, and then just take each idea sort of succinctly one at a time, because you're going to have Mercury moving through Aquarius for the whole second half of February before it goes into Pisces. So I think this is really a good time to capture those ideas, to feel Aquarius's electric energy and to get excited about it. On the 15th, we have Venus in Pisces at 24 degrees, making an exact conjunction to Neptune. This is a very creative energy for me. This is in your 11th house. Again, the 11th house rules the World Wide Web. It rules innovation. It rules technology. It rules the large social platforms. It rules my hopes and dreams. It's also a money house. So this is an opportunity for you to allow your dream life to sort of flow. That's where I want to put it. Let it be like water and just ripple along. Allow it to be like a stream rather than trying to capture it and hold on to it. Let it do what it does, and sort of allow yourself to observe all the endeavors that pop into your head. You may find yourself having, I want to put it this way. If you're an artist, if you're a creative person, you may find yourself just firing on all cylinders on this day. If you are, let's say you're a financial person, you may find yourself being more creative and imaginative in how you perceive how to make money or where to invest your money. This is a day where I think there's a powerful connection to my intuitive body and allowing my intuitive body to move me into areas that may feel unfamiliar to me, because we do have a square to the moon in Sagittarius. The moon's at 25 degrees, but we know the moon moves very quickly. So to me, this is an initial feeling of maybe feeling unsure on how to implement. But I also feel like if I give myself a little bit of time for the Venus-Neptune conjunction to give me a spiritual epiphany, a spiritual inspiration, then the moon moving through your 8th house of Sagittarius feels like it transforms something. It's almost as if Taurus, and Taurus being a fixed sign, it's not used to feeling flexible, but in this energy, it has an opportunity to feel transformed in trusting the musings of Venus and Neptune and the creativity, the imagination, the fantasy that it offers, and then trusting that you will have an inspiration that then leads you into your next physical action. Sagittarius is the connection to the angelic realm. It's big philosophy thoughts. Who am I? Why am I here? What's the purpose of my life? And Sagittarius is your 8th house of transformation, of a deep psychological transformation into an empowered and very, the way I want to phrase it is, as you become aware of your psychological imprint, you become more brave and more able to create bounty for yourself, to create actual money for yourself. So I think this is super important to allow this day when you feel the square, I think this is about asking yourself, Taurus, am I willing to go into new territories? Am I willing to go into foreign concepts and ideas? Am I willing to muse about things that I can't see how I will in the 3D world implement them just yet, but rather when I muse about the passions of them, then I know that Spirit is bringing me an inspired idea that will propel me into action. That's what I want to say. Now, on the 18th, the sun will enter Pisces. On the 19th, we will have a new moon in Pisces. I'm going to be doing a separate video on that. This is a very powerful new moon, and having the sun move into Pisces and the next day having this new moon feels as if these 2 days have this sort of energy of reflection on how I project myself out into the world, and then how do I feel about myself on an interior level. Pisces, again, is your 11th house. So this reflection will offer you an opportunity to then take whatever you have concluded through that period of time and then birth it into your hopes and dreams sector. And when I say that, it's as if I want to, when I look at the 11th house, I feel like I'm being tasked to be a little bit outside of my physical body, to sort of allow myself to go where no man has gone before, in understanding there are things within this universe that my physical body cannot perceive and connect to, but my intuitive body can, my soul body can. And this is what I think this has to offer you. This energy has to offer you, because in your 11th house, this is a connection to your intuitive body and also to this part of you that is not of the physical. You are an energetic light being that is inhabiting a physical experience for your soul's evolution, and one that you chose. So this is really an opportunity to connect that in a way that allows Taurus more sure-footedness on this journey. On the 20th, Venus will move into Aries, which is your 12th house. And this is where I believe you're going to take action, Venus being your ruling planet, and going into the sign of bravery, of courage, of the hero. You know, Aries is often called the warrior. And, you know, when I think about the warrior, I think about the military and how the military goes in on these very on missions that aren't always about conquering another land and showing dominance, but rather the freedom fighter, the one that's going in and willing to, I think of brave heroes. That's the way I'm going to put it. So here, as Venus, your ruling planet, moves into your 12th house, it's tasking you to be brave. It's asking you to be a hero in your own life. And again, there's this review of my ancestral energies, because while we are in the sign of Pisces, with Aries being your 12th house, there's a Piscean layer on top of that. And I don't think it's, I could address the idea of Aries getting so pissed off that Taurus getting so pissed off that this Aries energy fires you up. And then in the 12th house, you want to go have a drink and just, I need a drink to forget about that. I think this is the opposite now. I believe that the people that are on a conscious path are looking for the higher vibrations of all of these planets and these signs and what they have to offer us. So here Taurus becomes very brave in being willing to look at where you've been imprinted, where that belief has become entrenched in your behavior. And now, rather than trying to eradicate it or eliminate it, your awareness of it gives you new choices on how you want to show up, not just for other people, but for yourself, for the self-talk. By the 25th of February, we have Venus, Jupiter, and Chiron all in your 12th house, starting to create a conjunction. So Venus is going to be my self-worth, my money, my possessions, my skills. I was thinking about Venus, she rules artists, she rules woodworkers and craftsmen and people who work with their hands. And here we see Jupiter offering expansion and this opportunity to really go to those more philosophical thoughts. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the point of this earthly experience? And here we see Chiron, which has been transiting Aries, Aries being this would be a wound of the self, a wound of how I project myself. That's what it would represent. But here, I think there's an opportunity to start to reassess that. In your 12th house, this is giving you an opportunity to transform Chiron from the wound to the gift. On the 25th, it will be at the Aryan degree. Again, being brave about willing to look at things, and rather than holding on to them as if until I get validated by others, I can't move on. This is where we see Aries go, you know what? Forget Aries being the 12th house and Taurus being able to say, I don't need anybody else to validate me. I no longer want to sit on an old story. I no longer want to be held to a patterned energy that doesn't serve me. By nature, the 12th house is where the physical body, we leave the physical body and we go back into the collective. It's a very, very spiritual house in that it offers us a glimpse into our soul's patterns. And when the soul chooses to incarnate, it oftentimes will bring some of those patterns into play so that it can make the choice under the veil of unknowing that then lifts the veil and allows the human to connect to the soul part of themselves that is beyond powerful, that is the co-creator, the part of you that is able to manifest worlds that most people cannot. And I say that because it allows you to imagine, to dream, to create, to fantasize. And as you do that and you hold steadfast in that, you will see how you kick the laws of attraction in. And you then start to experiencing things that the average person who thinks that this is the 3D world and this is all there is, they won't feel that the same way. So this is a really powerful opportunity for Taurus to take Chiron and to, rather than hang on the wound, I can now rewrite that and I can find the spirituality, Jupiter, and I can find the value within me, Venus, as I have an awareness, and then rather than repeating the old story, I start to tell a new story. Because on the 28th, Mercury will be making a conjunction to Saturn in your 10th house of Aquarius. Mercury being at 27 degrees and Saturn at 29 degrees in Aquarius. The 10th house is your career sector. So this is where all this energy that you have walked through in this month, you can start to build it in your career, in the public eye, in that very visible house. Mercury rules our everyday activities. It rules our neighborhoods, our communities, our siblings, our workmates, our teammates. It rules so much of our everyday in this particular era, more so than ever before because of technology. And with Saturn at the 29th degree, this is the master number of thought. The 29 reduces down to an 11. It's the anaretic degree. It's where Saturn has been in through Aquarius, which it co-rules. And now whatever there was to master, there's an opportunity to master an energy, to hold steadfast and have the determination to really look at my thoughts, Mercury, look at my speech. The 27 is a 9. 9 is the culmination of a cycle. So by the time we get to the end of February, I believe that Taurus has an opportunity to really start to implement a new pattern of thoughts and behaviors that support a higher version of what you want. And we're going to take that into the next year and a half, because then Jupiter is going to move into your first house of self. So the seeds that you plant right now for an awareness, not judgment, not regret, not shame, not shoulda, coulda, woulda, but rather taking all what was as a piece of information that makes you a very informed co-creator, an intentional co-creator. And then the skills that you have, there's so many skills attached to Taurus, the singing voice, I can't help but think of, chefs and people, caterers and waiters, everything that has to do with Taurus, in the sense of Taurus loves luxury and food and my possessions and my self-worth. All those dynamics come into an energy where what came before that at one point may have felt like it was weighing you down now becomes the platform to give you wings to fly. Because now when you start to feel the energies that were not working for you, rather than hooking into them, you'll say, oh, I recognize that. Now I have an opportunity to move this direction. And that awareness, whether or not you're good at the shift or not, the awareness alone will start to shift the energy and align it more to something that you want to, something much more favorable, something much more pleasurable. So that's it for me for Taurus for the month of February 2023. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Every Sunday morning, live at 11 a.m., we look at the week's transits ahead and we get the angels' advice for traversing those transits. So I hope you will join me. And please, if you'd like to book a reading, my information is below. I am available. And please like, subscribe, and share. Put your comments. I love to read them all. I don't always get a chance to respond, but I do try to. And I'll be back next month with more information for Taurus for March. All right, everybody. Peace out.